Hi, I'm Paul from PDHSports, leading online racket specialist, and this is just another quick vlog where the first one of 2019, so happy new year to everyone. I know it's a little bit late now, but this is our first sort of update of what's been going on. So in this video, basically what we thought we'd do is we've had a few customer inquiries and things, and we thought we would try and address some of those. So first of all, one of the most popular questions this week that we've received is what's the best selling wide squash shoe? So I certainly, for one customer, I went through a few pairs to try and find exactly what is the widest shoe. Now, as you would see from some of my other videos, my shoe that I wear is the Hawk. Basically the most of our customers that ask for a wide shoe have come off the back of using the Prince NFS2, which currently is not available. They are looking at the possibility of it coming back into stock maybe sometime in February, but we're sort of still waiting to hear. But you know, a lot of customers say, oh, I used to use the Prince shoe, can't get it anymore, what is a wide shoe? So I used to use it, and I find the Hawk is the best shoe for me as the widest shoe. I did try it on the Cobra 2 for somebody to see how that is, and that is I found even wider. For me, it was a little bit too much space. So if you've got a really big wide foot, then the Cobra is possibly a good shoe. I found the Hawk to be a little bit snugger, so I prefer the feel, and also I prefer the sort of slightly more lower profile. But if you're looking for a really wide shoe, then the Salmings generally seem to be wider. The Blast FF, which whilst I found to be slightly more snug fit, is also, I think I can get into that. So I think that is also would be classed as a fairly wide shoe. Brands to probably avoid if you're looking for a wide shoe is Adidas. We have had questions on the Caracal one, and I tried it on this morning, and I think it comes up a little bit short and is not particularly wide. So that was for somebody that was asking us also, is the Caracal a good substitute for the Prince shoe? I think price point it is, but it isn't as wide, and it comes up a little bit shorter. So picks for a wide shoe would be Salmings, massively wider than anything else, and then you would still probably get in the A6. Okay, so that covers one of them. Second questions that we've had is, we have so the number one selling squash racket that we sell is the Carbaflex range, so it is the most popular. Now, having said that, I don't think it's the most forgiving racket. So this racket is being, the X Speed at the moment, but this has been used, is the racket that has been used and is being used at the sort of the highest end of the game. So professional players are using this. Now, if you're a professional player, you are demanding performance. So that performance can sometimes give unforgiveness. So obviously the top players are always hitting the middle. So that is what you're going to get from the Carbaflex, but you are not going to get the most forgiving racket. The frame is quite stiff, so it has been known, some people have been a little bit disappointed with this racket because they're expecting a racket that's going to transform their game, but if they're not good enough, it's not necessarily the best racket. It is a racket for better players, and I think that is because of the stiffness. It's quite a thin beam, the stringing pattern, it's quite, so it gives you a lot of performance, but you're not rewarded if you miss-hit it. So, having said that, the customers that are finding it too stiff and too unforgiving, we would recommend, there is such a range of head rackets. So we've got the Cyanos are very, very popular, the Stealth, there's various weights as well, so you've got 110s, 120s, 130s, 135s. So if you're looking for a racket with them, it's got a more open stringing pattern, bigger spaces, means you can get away with a lot more. So you can pick this racket up, you're not hitting it perfectly on the day, and you're still going to get quite a good forgiving feel. So, you know, that's 2 rackets, these that are very popular, but just really covering, it's not for everyone, the Carboflex. It's not a racket that is super forgiving. So if you want something more forgiving, look at maybe the head ranges. Now, also one thing that we sort of had come up is that Yonex is not suitable for squash. We had a customer that felt the shoes were missold and they're not suitable for squash. We had them listed in our squash category, and we've now removed them from the squash category, but I wanted to test them and see what I thought, and whether you could use them for squash. So basically we're gonna cut to me on the squash court with Yonex shoes. Okay, so here we are, we're on the squash court, and you know, we are asking the question, and I'll be interested for some feedback down below from anyone. Can you play squash in Yonex shoes? So it's a question that we have raised this week. We did have Yonex listed in our squash category. Unfortunately, we've had a customer who has basically said they are not suitable for squash, so we decided to look into that further and just really sort of, you know, it raised a good question. Yonex is not a squash brand, it's a badminton brand, but you know, the question is, could you play squash in them? Are they suitable for squash? Are they safe? So I've got my Salming Hawk shoes here. That's what I wear, that's my favourite shoe. So here I've got the Yonex Shb 35s. So, you know, like looking at them, they look like an indoor court shoe. They're very light. They've got good flexibility. They've got the non-marking sole. So on paper, I couldn't see why you wouldn't be able to wear them for squash. So yeah, so here you go. I'm going to put them on. I'm going to mimic some squash movements. And I'm going to come back with my feedback on whether I think Yonex is suitable for squash. Okay, right guys, so just back having had a little bit of a run round, tried to sort of mimic my movements and see whether I could think they are suitable. So the things that I sort of looked out for were grip. So first of all, the grip seemed fine, so I was getting good grip. You know, like the differences I see, badminton obviously is forward facing, your opponent's there, so you're spending a lot of time looking like that, but you've still got to move backwards. I was able to, it's a multi-directional sport, both of them squash, badminton. I was able to do that on the squash court with these shoes. So would I wear Yonex to squash? No, I wouldn't, because Yonex is a badminton brand, and I would be more like looking to buy a squash brand purely because I think it's cooler to be wearing Salming over Yonex on a squash court. Are they suitable for squash? I think yes, you can wear them for squash. So who would they suit? So, you know, like I had a question. I asked Sophie a question, who's our resident badminton expert. Can you wear Yonex on a squash court? Now, she is primarily a badminton player, but she plays squash and she plays tennis, and she wears Yonex shoes, and she doesn't swap her shoes for badminton or squash. She's come off wearing Asics, and she said she never noticed any difference. So she's a classic there, somebody that primarily plays badminton but doesn't want to buy a pair of squash shoes specifically for the odd game of squash, just goes straight over onto wearing her Yonex badminton shoes for squash with no problem. So I guess in conclusion, can you wear Yonex for squash? I would say you can. Would I? No, because I said I prefer like my squash brands. If I was playing badminton most of the time and I wanted a shoe that I could wear for squash, then yes, I maybe would be using Yonex, because Yonex is more of a badminton brand. So, like I said, really interesting question that was raised this week, and hopefully, so this is my opinion. I think the things you must remember with shoes is it's such a personal fit. So this might feel great as a squash shoe, badminton shoe, racquetball shoe for one person and feel horrible for the next, because your feet are different. So, you know, you have to try different shoes and see what is suitable, but there's nothing that I can see that says to me you can't wear this as an indoor court shoe for other sports other than badminton. So yeah, there you go, there are my thoughts, and yeah, let's get back to finishing off the rest of the vlog. Okay, yeah, so hopefully that was helpful there, like just a little bit of insight of what we think about Yonex. Obviously, as I've covered in that section there, Yonex is not necessarily marketed as a squash brand, but we think it could work for certain people, and it shouldn't be necessarily totally discounted as a not working squash shoe. Anyway, so the final part of this catch up really is a question that nearly every week now we're getting asked. To make a really light racket, the manufacturers are making their rackets without paint on it. Now, it surprised me. Yellow paint apparently is one of the heaviest paints on the market. So if you're not looking for a particularly heavy racket, maybe avoid the yellow paint. But some of these new super light rackets now, they're coming with no paint. So what's happening, and this again, we've taken a number of phone calls here. People are getting the rackets, and what they're seeing is the graphite flecks within the frame. So they're thinking that these are cracks. But all it is you're actually seeing the graphite, and there are a number of brands that are doing this, and this is a way where the manufacturers can shave some weight off the racket. They're just not covering them with the paint. So like, this is the Shb Power Kill 110, and you can clearly see the specs that, you know, if somebody didn't understand, that you'd think there was something wrong with the paintwork, because it's I say it's a little bit, looks almost like cracks, but it's not cracks, it's just the graphite specs. I say we've got that. I think there's a number of brands, light rackets, Caracal, F125, again you can see the graphite, the eye rackets. Again, not got paint on all the way through to shave off the weight, and again you can see the graphite. Unsquashable Y-Tech Pros and the Unsquashable Project PDH rackets, they're all like unpainted. So again, what you're seeing is not a defect in the racket, it's just that you're seeing the graphite. So I thought it was really important to cover that, because the more and more rackets that we're selling are lighter, and more questions are coming about whether there is an issue with the design in it. It's not, it's just graphite that you're visualizing. So yeah, so hopefully we've got lots of exciting things coming up. We've just launching a few badminton videos at the moment, so we're covering the Babolat range, so there's a few of those videos going up. It looks like I might be getting a trip to Chicago for the World Open Squash, so I'm really excited about that, because I'm hoping that comes off, and then we can get some, you know, like good footage and some interviews with all the squash players. But that's about it. So yeah, if you've not already subscribed to our channel, then we'll put the links down below, and yeah, hope to we'll catch up very soon.